I still have a little bit of imposter syndrome, but at least I feel like I'm supposed to be here.
Keiloni.
Hey.
Hey, are you there?
I'm here.
What's up? We can check out the food.
Yeah.
I'm not a super extrovert, as strange as that may seem. So I don't really get energized by it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do.
Yeah.
You do?
I actually do. I like people. I get energized by people.
What about it?
I mean, people are just fun. You have to be a people person. Talking to people, engaging.
And you network like crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
do.
It's not just this room full of people. It's like you're out volunteering, out going to conferences, you're talking.
Yeah.
What?
I've moved around a lot in my life, so one thing that I could always depend on is building relationships with people. I build friendships, I find mentors, sponsors, different things like that, and then I like to pay that forward by doing the same thing for other people. And I feel like it's almost my responsibility to make sure that when it's time for my daughter to work and go to school, people treat her with the same empathy that I treat them. So, it's like paying it forward and, or breaking the tech generational curse, like changing that stigma that you just have to be hard or everything has to be binary. You should care about other people's feelings because overall, that makes the culture of the company better. So anybody that comes to me and asks me, how do you like Microsoft? I'm like, oh my God, I love it.
Why did you decide to come?
Because I like the idea of everyone being dressed up. I love all the sparkly dresses.
You like the sparkly dresses?
I do. They make me so happy. It's crazy. I could spot my brother as soon as he walked in.
Where is he?
Right here.
That's cool.
Yeah. We're each other's favorite person. We've always had like this crazy intense bond because of the constant moving and here to there. Like it's always just been us. And so I remember when he went to college, I cried. And the thing is, we get along, but we really don't. We actually argue 90% of the time. And then when he moved here, it was like, you're leaving to go across the world.
You're leaving me.
Yeah.
You're abandoning me.
Yeah. And the whole time he moved, he sent me job after job after job.
Like, come here too.
Yes, yes.
You were involved with quite a lot of activities with your daughter. Mm-hmm. What kinds of things were you doing?
So some of the things that I do with my daughter on weekends are taking her to Chick Tech events that I volunteer for, and she'll go and she'll learn how to code and use Raspberry Pi. Then normally after we leave our Chick Tech events, she would go to basketball practice. So I would go to basketball games with her, or maybe I would have another networking event. Once we heard that the COVID cases were increasing in this area, our team decided we were going to stay home.
How are you?
Honestly?
Yeah, honestly. Well, give me the dishonest answer first. I want to hear it.
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm
okay,
good.
Now give me the honest answer.
Oh, I'm so tired.
Oh, me too.
I'm exhausted. Because I'm in networking and because majority of Microsoft sits on my platform, Azure Front Door, I guess I didn't know what was in store for me. The teams, there's a lot of research labs, they all sit on our platform. And once everyone got the communications to stay at home, our traffic, I think, quadrupled. And so we
in a
were,
short amount of time. Huh?
Oh, yes. And as the capacity PM and the infrastructure PM, I had to scramble. And I'm new. My mentor just left. I'm having to figure everything out on my own because we do have a global service. I'm having to talk to individuals in Europe and Asia. And, I'm still trying to balance working from home and having my daughter, pretty much.
That seems like a big job.
Oh, yeah. It's a very big job.
You've been on the job how long?
About 20 months now. So at that time, maybe about 18, a year and a half.
How has Microsoft's response been? Like, how do you experience the job?
So I think to an extent, Microsoft has been very supportive. If I said that I needed to take some time off to dedicate it to my daughter, I could. And I believe we got a 12 to 14-week pandemic leave that you can take intermittently.
How are you taking care of yourself mentally?
I did have an epiphany that I do need that human interaction. Like I thrive off that. I do really well. And I'm just completely thrown off. My routine's thrown off. My daughter's routine's thrown off. And that's been very hard for me, which is why I had to take a step back from even trying to put effort into doing virtual conferences and, doing as much mentoring as that I have done virtually. And just focusing on reading and focusing on, spending time with my daughter. Me and a few friends of mine, we get up and we go jogging a lot in the morning. I've been, exercising more, eating better. And that's probably the only social interactions I've had.
You've got quite an inventory going on.
Yeah.
What was your growing up like? What were you seeing and experiencing around where you grew up?
I decided when I was around 16 that I really liked computers. I didn't know anything about them. No one around me knew anything about them. And so I think I just woke up one day and I said, I'm going to go to this county school, the very racist county school. Mm-hmm. And it was actually a great experience. That's when I got into tech. That's when I don't think I've ever had issues. I studied Cisco and I got 2 Cisco certifications in high school. I think I was done a semester early. I was, the only person of color in my class. But my instructor was incredible. He never made me feel uncomfortable. The guys in the class, they were awesome. I'm got a big bubbly personality, so everyone just, we worked well together. So we would build like the motherboards from scratch, and we did various things. It was pretty cool.
Do you find that that's translated everywhere you've been, or is it like lumpy?
Oh, no, absolutely everywhere I've been. I think I've always been the only Black woman in every class, in every job that I've had, tech-related. I can't think of a situation where I wasn't the only.
What attracted you to the computer stuff in the first place?
Honestly, I knew that it was going to be a very in-demand, high-paying profession. Mm-hmm. So that is the most transparent reason why I got into tech. I knew it was going to be the moneymaker.
So at first it's like, dollars. Give me the dollars. Give me those tech dollars.
And then it's like, oh, this is cool, after a while. I mean, I always thought it was cool, but just really understanding it and falling in love with it. I'll say I think I did that in grad school.
Tell me something more about your college days.
Yeah. So I got pregnant and I really struggled with that because I knew what I wanted to do and what I was capable of, and I thought that would hinder me. I moved forward with the pregnancy, and I had my daughter about 3 days before the last semester of my senior year.
Wow.
So...
Pretty intense.
Yes. When I was working through my last semester, I would take my baby to my classes with me. And because, I couldn't afford childcare at the time. Yeah.
So taking the baby to class, how did that go?
So it was, I remember the first time that I took her to class, that was the broadcasting class that I took her to. And I think she made a little sound or something. And the teacher stopped. He's like, is there a baby in here? And I thought he was going to tell me I had to leave. So I was just like, oh yeah, I had to bring my baby. And he was like, come here, bring her up here. And I took him to her. And, he just started playing with her. And then he would teach class every day and write on the board. And he would hold my baby.
That must have been a big relief.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a huge milestone for me, being able to take her and still learn and complete my courses on time and graduate. Yeah, it was very big.
So how did you come to Microsoft? You applied to some jobs first, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah. So I actually applied to several of those, and I got a lot of calls back. Every time I would hit those tech screenings, they would say, you don't have just enough, you're there, but you're not there. After that, I talked to one recruiter, and she told me, well, hey, why don't you apply to this apprenticeship, and maybe you can get the skill set you need, and then come back and apply for another job. And I got in first round, had about 3 weeks to grab my baby, pack up, and then fly across the world. So.
Yeah. Were you just thinking, well, I've got my Microsoft job, or, what were you expecting?
I actually thought the opposite. So I remember my first day of LEAP being extremely overwhelmed. I thought, of course this is Microsoft, but everyone is so smart, on a different level than I've ever seen. And I honestly didn't think that I would be offered a position once I got done. I think it was just that imposter syndrome, not thinking that I would ever reach that skill set that they were looking for. I feel like that sometimes, I can't believe that I'm here.
Is it changing? Are you getting more relaxed about it, or is it still the same?
So I would say I think the last probably 6 to 8 months have been monumental for me. I had a mentor in the team that I'm currently in, and I would rely on him a lot. And then I started pushing myself to the next level. I was like, okay, Keiloni, you have to learn this for yourself. Like, you can't always go to everyone and ask questions. I have to do the problem solving on my own. I think that's what took me to the next level. I still have a little bit of imposter syndrome, but at least I feel like I'm supposed to be here. Like, I'm at least part of the club. I might not be the coolest kid in the club or the smartest one, but I think I'm at least there. And I also, being the smartest is not necessarily the goal for me, because there's a lot of incredible and talented developers on the team, and I might not know as much as them, but they might not know how to talk to customers the way I can.
What kinds of things have you done this year? I hear you arranged some events back in Black History Month.
Oh, yeah. So I scheduled a huge ice cream social where we would also watch Hidden Figures, the movies about Katherine Johnson and 2 other powerful Black women who basically worked for NASA and changed history. I had quite a bit of a turnout. I would say at least maybe like 150. They sat through the entire movie. There was some tears during the movies. There was a lot of conversations. And so even afterwards, the conversations kept going.
So that's really powerful. So how did you feel about it?
I mean, it was incredible. I just didn't think anybody would care that much because I thought if they cared, they would schedule, they would, plan some of these things on their own. But then it was like once I presented the idea, conversations started happening. People started asking questions. So, that made me feel good.
Recently, we've been having conversations about race relations. Is there anything you could tell people, like how to have that conversation, how to be vulnerable in such a conversation, to have a more deeply meaningful conversation around those issues?
So I'm going to take a step back because I don't understand why you have to tell people how to be human. Being vulnerable, showing compassion, showing emotion, that's a very human thing. So to me, it's odd that we're having conversations on how to talk to people like people, how to address racial issues. I would just tell you to be human. Mm-hmm. Talk to me and treat me the same way you would treat a family member or you would treat your young daughter or your young son. Like, I guess I don't get why that's a thing.
Well, that's the advice right there, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
Is there anything you wish you had known before you came into Microsoft?
Other than acronyms. All the acronyms?
All the acronyms?
I think I wish I would have known that it was okay to express myself. I think I was so worried about how others would interpret me that I would often, I either wouldn't speak my mind or I would maybe even change my opinion or thoughts so I could blend in with the crowd as opposed to just staying my true self. I'm all about, finding support to help you get through those challenges or whatever hurdles that you have.
What is your least favorite word?
Can't. Because we need to take it out of our vocabulary. It shouldn't be a word. You can do whatever, so can't just should not be in the equation.